Welcome in, Shield Brothers and Shield Maidens, to Shield's Rest. I'm Brown.
And I'm Frey.
If bending nature's power to mend allies and overwhelm foes fits your style, then you'll appreciate today's video. We're taking Mantis to the battlefield, where growing your team's strength and withering enemies' hopes is the goal of this ultimate support guardian. Mantis makes her first appearance in 1973 with The Avengers, number 112. However, you may recognize her from the Marvel Cinematic Universe as the celestial hybrid empath and member of the Guardians of the Galaxy, where she is also the paternal half-sister of Peter Quill, Star-Lord. For our Mantis, we have chosen to make an Angelborn, Beastborn, Druid, Spellblade, Bard, Paragon Druid. That's a mouthful. So excited to share this with you. I'll let Frey take it over to run through everything we'll need.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's the longest title so far.
Absolutely.
So for Mantis, we're going to be starting with our ancestry traits. Like you said, we're taking Beastborn for the Shoot Webs ability and Angelborn for some celestial magic and a mana increase. From Druid, we're going to be utilizing our Druid domain, specifically the Wild Growth action, as well as using our Wild Form. For talents, we're going to be spending both on multi-classing, the first one from Spellblade to pick up Spellblade disciplines, and then into Bard for Bardic Inspiration. For the subclass, we're going to go Paragon to expand on the Wild Form, and then for spells, first our cantrip, we're going to be using Poison Bolt, and then Bless as our main spell.
Mantis has the following abilities in Marvel Rivals: Life Energy Blast, Healing Flower, Spore Slumber, Allied Inspiration, Natural Anger, a passive Nature's Favor, and her ultimate ability, Soul Resurgence. We'll start first with Life Energy Blast.
All right, Life Energy Blast, we have two options here. Primarily, we're going to use Poison Bolt. However, you could also just take any ranged projectile, costs the same, does the same damage. So as a backup for, if you don't want to use Poison Bolt for any reason, you can't use that, but quick and simple.
Yep. And next we have the Healing Flower. This is where we start to really bring in the Druid. So we're going to first use our Druid domain. We're going to set that up with 1 action point, 1 mana point. And then we're going to activate our Wild Growth, which also costs 1 action point and 1 magic point for 2 total. And that's going to create that 8-space domain. They have to be kind of connected to each other, but it lets you control the battlefield in those areas, and it allows us to place a heal on selected allies that will heal them over time.
All right, next, that takes us to Spore Slumber. This is her sedate ability to take out a target. This is where we're going to utilize our Shoot Webs trait. 1 AP. It also is going to kind of mimic the Mantis illusion / clone that you can attack in game to break it. You can attack the webs in the same way. So it's a nice way to match the flavor of it as well.
Yeah, really liked that one. We tried to bring Shoot Webs into a couple other builds, but I think this one was the coolest one. Next we have Allied Inspiration, which is part of the reason why we took the Angelborn ancestry, also just for the flavor of her as a character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. However, this lets us unlock the Bless spell, which is a DC 10 spell check. We can bless up to 3 creatures of our choice. If we happen to roll 10 over success, we get to increase that to 4 creatures, which is crazy. However, if you fail, then you can only pick 2 creatures. So either way, this is letting you give a Bless to those targets, which allows them to make a check or a save and roll a d4 and add that to the total. Also, as a secondary option, we are going Bard, like we said, so you could also use Bardic Performance with the Battle Ballad, which would increase the selected creature's ability to do +1 damage once for each of their turns.
Then we have her Natural Anger ability. This is her self-damage boost. For this, we're just going to specifically using the Poison Bolt, doing the damage enhancement for 2 action points. So for this specifically, if you are using the ranged projectile, just make sure you're swapping to Poison Bolt if you're wanting to simulate that damage boost.
Yep, super down and dirty and easy on that one. Next is going to be the Nature's Favor. So there's a couple elements that are coming into play here. First is our Wild Form. we will be using that. But also, since we chose Paragon, we're going to be using the Wild Form expansion. Essentially what this does is give us 5 traits that we can use on beast traits or also the wild form table traits. So with that, we're going to get a mix of swift times 2, so we can pick that twice, which is going to give us +2 speed. And also we're going to get natural weapon already from the wild form, so we're going to take natural projectile so that we can maintain that ranged attacking, such as we use with her life energy blast. And there wasn't really a great way to get the heal over time effect, so instead we just thought what can make her more resilient, and in that we chose healthy as the last trait point, which just gives her an additional maximum HP while she's in that form. This also, wild form expansion, allows us to, at the start of each turn, basically shift between true form and wild form for a free cost, and then wild form itself you can once per long rest transform for just 1 action point essentially. So this can either cost 1 action point or 1 action point and 1 mana point, or be free to shift between the two once per turn. So a lot going on there, but definitely not a passive way because you have to actually shapeshift, but best thing we could do, and thought it fit really well after we kind of concluded on that choice.
Yeah, I was just happy we found a way to use wild form, considering
we had to.
no one really shapeshifts in this game, but it was nice to be able to squeeze and wiggle it in there. But
yeah, for sure.
Last up, her Soul Resurgence. So this is her ultimate ability. This one we're going to combine 2 abilities at once. That Bardic Performance for fast tempo. 1 AP if it's already up and running, which I probably would recommend at the start of a big battle. Just have it up because you're going to be utilizing it a lot in the build, just changing the song. But when you activate it, it does cost the 1 mana point in addition to the 1 action point. And then we're also going to utilize Acolyte from the Spellblade Disciplines to heal, another action point and mana point, and that gives us a pool of die that we can use to heal any number of allies as we need. So again, not a full heal over time like the ultimate would be, but it kind of simulates it. Now we can kind of re-up that every round, and so until we run out of MP, which I think is the biggest thing with this build is we do have a lot of mana points, but a lot of our abilities also cost mana points. So I think utilizing that Bardic Performance and then swapping as needed is just going to save you on that if you're running low already.
Yeah, I think for very short, quick battles, this is pretty sustainable. I mean, we got the 13 mana points, which sound like a lot, but you can burn through them quick. As we've just mentioned, everything costs 1 or more. So especially if we start weaving in enhancements and things that might make it cost more. But in a nutshell, I thought Mantis came together really well. I was telling Fry, this is probably the first class I think that really almost each move had like, you can do this or this with everything you already have in the build, where everyone else was more like, this is the one option for that thing and we built it that way to get that. Hers is really, I'm looking at it, really Natural Anger was the only one that we only had like a 1 option for. And I'll throw the breakdown up there so you can see what I'm talking about. I keep forgetting to do that.
Yeah, and it really goes down to like, this is like our version of it, but if you wanted to use this in a real game and you wanted to just change the playstyle, like you want to be more up in their face as opposed to like laying back, you could go, I think it was Barbarian instead of Bard or instead of Spellblade, just to get those like shouts that kind of mimic these abilities. So that's where that option comes into play. It's like really how you want to play, and the play style affects kind of which class you go with. But it was.
If we were going,
Druid took the longest for that.
That was the Mantis build. So our next build is we're looking to build Cloak and Dagger, and then after that Venom. Those are the 2 remaining characters that we have in mind, subject to change, but very excited to polish those off and present them to you, see what you all think. And then after that, we'll start kind of going back through the ones that don't have a subclass and revise those for what we can and fit things where we can. So, but appreciate you guys watching the video. Please leave a like, comment, support us by sharing with a friend. And until next time, keep that shield wall strong.